What's up guys, it is an absolute stinker today in the shed, but it's not stopping the old progress on the Sony. So we have the front cover, everything off, balancer. Probably should have filmed that in case anyone wants to know how to do it. Super simple, done previous videos on it. I can't link them because I've probably forgotten, but I've done this many a times. As you can see, it is disgusting in here. There's oil everywhere. There's obviously an oil leak. I'm going to assume that it's the front main seal behind the main drive here. I've got the old ratchet on here before. I was lining up top dead center and I noticed inside, well not in this, obviously not this keyway, but the one behind it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's real hard to pick it up, but see there's a little tiny movement there. I'll go back to the right. I don't know if you guys can actually see that on camera, but I just went left then. Try and go right again. Yeah, I'm shaking like crazy. Sorry guys. But it looks like the crank's got a little bit of movement on the keyway that drives the timing belt. Now that's not good. I've never had that issue ever. Obviously going to take this off. The timing belt was brand new and it's had oil and stuff all on it. The cover actually had blue debris all around the outside of where this was running. It's just obviously the colouring off the belt coming off, but I'm going to change it anyway. And obviously change front main seal. I don't actually know where the oil is coming from, because in the front here it goes that freaking flat out. That oil could be leaking from like a cam, could be the cam seal, and that's sending oil everywhere, but it was never like dripping out the front of the car. It's obviously just over time. You see it's built up heaps here. I don't know if it affects the trigger kit, but yeah, that's obviously got a lot of build up on it. There's just crap everywhere. So obviously pros and cons to running covers over your belt. I will always do it because I don't want rocks and bits of rubber from chasing another drift car getting in here, especially in between your cam gear and your belt, and it skips a tooth or whatever. It actually does happen. It happened to Bo Yates. He lost the whole engine, and since then he's always run a cover. But then also not running, I mean, running a cover, you can't, you know, see the wear and tear on everything. But yeah, I mean, this belt is freaking, it's still really good. Obviously it's not loose. That's actually how I always have it. And yeah, everything there seems fine. And obviously the car wasn't running great, but it was still doing the job, winning events, you know. All right, I'm take this off. This is the tensioner, so you just loosen that off, and that Allen key hole there, if it's sprung properly, I'm pretty sure I've still got the spring on there. You'll need to physically move that out of the way because it'll be spring loaded to put pressure on the belt. So I'm going to take that off, take the belt off, take all this off the front, and see if we can find where this leak's coming from, and also see how the keyway is, because they have these little half moons chilling in it. A lot of people have issues with that flogging out or whatever. I've never ever had an issue. So obviously I'm either not making enough power or not thrashing the car as much, or maybe just not assembling it properly. I don't know. Anyway, let's pull this off, eh? So yeah, just use the Allen, take the tension off, and the belt can just come freely off. Just like that. Now obviously getting it off down here is not so easy. I have no idea why I took that off. If you haven't done a timing belt, or your car's really old and you're unsure of it, replace these bolts now. This one's obviously a stud that sticks out. Replace that and change that to a brand new bolt, because starting to break on people's cars and then you lose your whole engine. So make sure you do that. Now to take this off, if you have done it up tight, either hold the crank on the other end or use a rattle gun and hope like hell that the crank doesn't move, because if it does, it'll hit your valves. And yeah, it didn't. So So don't use like a bar or a ratchet because it'll start spinning. It's not going to damage your valves, hopefully, but just don't do it. Use a rattle. Okay, now this, oh, it's loose. Hell yeah. Normally these are a bitch to get off. Now this is either a bad thing or I'm just really lucky. Oh my God, that never comes off that easy. That just slid off. That is amazing. And the keyway's all good. Yeah, no, it's all good. There's obviously just a tiny bit of play. That's actually made my day. So now your belt's off. As you can see, it's pretty bad. We'll chuck a new one on. I mean, realistically, I could reuse that, but what's the point? It's like $100 and it could cost you an event. You're probably sitting at home going, yeah, but that's $100 and then this is $100 and that's $100. That's freaking motorsport. By the way, I'm not a mechanic, so everything I say is how I do things, not how you should do them. But everything's working in my garage so far. And that is now no good. Yeah, I'll bomb knock her out. Bang it black. She's sweet now, mate. Alright guys, I got a little bit carried away here. As you can see, the engine's kind of, yeah, everything's sort of happening. You think I'd like use one of my benches that I got lying around, but anyway. I wanted to get into this real quick. I haven't had very many opportunities because our dog's just had the snip. Chop chop, poor fella. And he has needed a lot of attention and obviously looking after. So long story short, everyone knows that I've had oil pressure issues for a very long time, and the Motec has been doing its job and cuts it out before any damage happens. It's usually happening on the bowl at the bend and whatnot, but I'm pumped to say that the bearings have definitely had wear, but I'm going to chuck them straight back in. So I'm going to clean them up, I'm going to bop that straight back in, and she's going to be sweet. Now, just so everyone knows, this engine has been going for 2 years now. The only thing we changed was the Motec, still running standard rods, standard rod bolts. This is standard crank, standard main bolts, just ACL race bearings. That's the only thing that's different. I just did that because I wanted to make sure it was all sweet. And there was bearing material in this motor when I first put it together. So this was the engine that I did put together. It still has a lot of missing compression, which I'm going to get onto once I've put that back on. I did a leak down test before I did all this, and it's got me stuffed what's going on. I have the results here. I don't know if you guys can read that, but yeah, cylinder 1, 75%, 5, 80, 80, 50, number 6 was good. And I think that was the highest compression cylinder, so makes sense. 85% leak down on number 2 and 80% on number 4. I've got these measurements here because they are the Neo shim measurements. So I use the snap-on angled feeler gauges. So handy. And checked all them, they're all sweet. So just going over stuff as I go along. But yeah, just making a real freaking mess. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put that back on. I can't remember the torque settings, so I'm just going to have to... I Google it all the time. I should just have a bloody board here with everything written on it, but anyway. Google is your friend. So for all the people that keep asking me for torque settings, I'll literally just go to Google and then I'm telling people. So that's my way of not being rude, but you guys can just go to Google. The SAU forums, Skylines, Nationals, whatever it is. There's manuals on there, there's manuals everywhere. So yeah, let's do that. I'm bloody pumped about that. That's really freaking cool. This thing just keeps on keeping on. This is definitely going to be like the last time I run it like this, because I'm just ticking time bomb running these standard rods and freaking near on 400 kilowatt. But yeah, let's quickly chuck this motor or the bottom end back together, flip it over, and we'll do a leg down test real quick. And I'll show you guys how bad it is. Hopefully we can pinpoint where the actual issue is. I don't know, we'll find out. Okay, so did the bearings, I checked them, sorry. This is the order. Just disregard my snakes I got here. And they're in line. That's why I've got snaky lines. Anyway, I wrote it wrong. And there's the torque setting. So Newton meters. I just grabbed this old snap-on torque wrench. And yeah, 46 first, buzz over them in this order, and then 52, buzz over them again. I would have filmed it, but I just wanted to get it done. And it's really difficult to film and do stuff on your own. You know, you guys know what it's like, trying to get things done with limited time. Anyway, we're going to do the leak down test now. Cylinder 1 is at top dead center. Now, just so everyone knows, the marking's there, marking there, and then the crank marking's there. You can clearly see that there's no pressure on the valve springs here. The lobes are on the other side. So I've bunged it in there. I have got the air into this snap-on leak down tester. And so we'll start again. Let's start again. So I've taken the air out, loosened that little doobalaccy here off, and as you can see, both gauges are all the way to the left. Now, what we have to do is we have to get this arrow here to go all the way around to set on 0 before we plug it in. So you got that? So I'm going to do it like this. It's the only way I can. Come on, mate. So you wind him up. I've obviously got the hose hooked in to the compressor over the back corner. And you just wind him all the way up till it gets to 0. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Ooh, yep, we're there. Okay, then you simply plug it into here. Now, that's only finger tight. That's all it needs to be. It's got a O-ring on it. Let's see if we can beat the compressor here. Oh God, I'm going to chuck you in between my legs, guys. Alright, here we go. Oh, there's a lot leaking out. What do we got? We have 70% leak down. Oh wow, there's a little bit coming out of that hole. Not much coming out the exhaust. Oh, but if you look in there, there's lots of air coming out of there. Lots. So there you go. So, long story short, the rings are stuffed. Finally. The old girl. So it's had stuffed rings for yonks. I don't quite get that. Doesn't really make sense because it's been running and it's had that low compression for so long. Oh, that's frustrating. That's really frustrating. Anyway, that has got a little bit worse after the last few rounds. Like the last event I did in this, we frickin' won with that engine on 60 PSI across everything besides the rear cylinder. That was good. I'm super curious now. I want to rip it to bits to find out how bad the rings are. But that just... Okay. I've got to commit here. I have to make a decision. You guys aren't going to like it, but I have to do what's right for me and my financial position. So, what we're going to do is, because that is not really worth chucking back together to go out to the next round and just hope it does the day, like I have been doing. Like it probably will. Chances are it might not. And the rings will just, yeah, it'll be game over. So I'm going to pull out, I think, because I'm not going to have enough time to put together another engine. I'm going to build the good one. And we're going to get this thing singing. So I'm going to put together a crazy bottom end so we can rev this thing to the moon again. That's what I think we should do. I've got rods, pistons, the block, a good crank. We're going to build a really freaking good engine for the Sonny for once. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, I'm calling it. So I think I'm going to pull out next round. So there you go. That sucks because obviously I won't be doing the next round. That really sucks, actually. I was hoping to do that because there's a lot of people entered and a lot of people I'm keen to drive with. Okay, there you go. Let's end it there. I'm just going to strip this down. I'm not going to do it tonight. Go back on pooch patrol and yeah, clean all this up later. Oh, it's disappointing but also exciting. Alright guys, that's it for today. This video's done. It's a sucky one, but hey, if you didn't think it sucked, give it a thumbs up, eh? Actually, before we finish this video, check out Snap-on's new LED pocket torch. It's freaking sick. It's got like it's got a hanger mount, right? And then that does like full 360, so you can hang it. And then it's also got little crazy magnets on it, so you can just like stick it anywhere, and then like have it up like that, or you know, like that, or like that, or yeah, however you want it. Boom. That's it. See you guys.